William Morrow and HarperAudio present Counting Lost Stars, a novel by Kim van Alkemade, performed by Arndt. Dedicated to the memory of my father, Gerard Pieter Jacobus van Alkemade III, 1934 to 1987. Chapter 1. Rita Klein, New York State, May 1960. I first suspected they were lying to me when my skirt didn't fit. No matter how I tugged at the zipper or sucked in my stomach, I couldn't make the waistband bridge that gap of flesh between the hook and its eye. So there I stood, feet flat on the floor of the hospital room, flummoxed. They'd all promised, the doctor, the social worker, even my own mother, that I'd be back to normal once it was over. My blouse had buttoned up okay. Why not the skirt? Maybe it was stupid of me to think a garment I hadn't worn in months would fit again so soon, but what did I know? They were the ones who told me what to expect. All I did was believe them. I tried the zipper again, refusing to credit the evidence of my own body. At every meal for the past 5 months, whenever we'd complained about the meager portions of poached eggs or skinless chicken or lettuce with only a squeeze of lemon for dressing, the house matron had assured us the restrictive menu was designed to get us back in our old clothes as quickly as possible. We'd all followed the same diet. If my clothes didn't fit, it was likely no one else's did either. But if they'd lied to us about the food, was the rest of it a lie too? I shook the thought from my head. It was ridiculous to think all those professional people were involved in some elaborate deception. I reminded myself it only happened 3 days ago. Today I was going home. Starting tomorrow, I'd put all this behind me and get on with my life. At least the food had given us girls something to talk about. We were all too ashamed to share the circumstances that had gotten us in trouble. We weren't even supposed to reveal our real names, let alone exchange telephone numbers for staying in touch or addresses for visiting. Whenever I tried bringing up a topic from the day's headlines, the conversation fell flat. Current events, like that U-2 spy plane shot down over the Soviet Union, felt too remote to matter while we were sequestered in that isolated mansion. When Mossad agents brazenly captured Adolf Eichmann in Argentina, even the other Jewish girls weren't interested in the prospect of that murderous Nazi going on trial in Israel. No one seemed to care whether or not John F. Kennedy got the Democratic nomination, which I guess made sense. Most of the girls were too young to vote. And anyway, whichever man ended up in the White House wouldn't change a thing for those of us biding our time at the Hudson Home for Unwed Mothers. I twisted the skirt around in frustration, fruitlessly attempting to zip it from the front. Back when I was getting ready for the trip upstate, I hadn't packed much into the pink Samsonite my parents had given me as a high school graduation present. It was winter then, and my wardrobe was down to a couple of shapeless dresses, a few loose blouses, a stretched-out sweater, and a cuffed pair of my brother's blue jeans. On top of this sad pile of fabric, I carefully placed the skirt I'd bought back in August for my night out with Leonard. It was the most sophisticated article of clothing I'd ever purchased, the black linen modestly lined in silk, yet snug enough to hint at the garter clips holding up my stockings. The salesgirl at Macy's assured me it would be perfect for a date with a businessman from out of town. That she thought the man in question was a matrimonial prospect went without saying. In New York City in 1959, it was a pretty safe bet that any girl in her 20s who wasn't already hitched was on the hunt for a husband. I'd have sworn I was immune, but after I met Leonard, I couldn't resist walking past the jewelry stores on 47th Street, window shopping diamond rings.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?